Shalom, peace. I'm your brother Gabar, and this is Intelligent Hebrew. Today's lesson is gather together. I'm bringing this out because right now, in these days and times, it's a lot going on, and a lot of people that are not for the children of Israel, especially us so-called Judites, you so-called African Americans, or you so-called Black people that are on the Western Hemisphere of the planet. It's a lot going on, and I can see it. I don't know if y'all see it, but it's a lot going on in this world where we gonna kind of fall victim to some of this stuff that's happening. Um, some of our own people uh, are against us, and I mean other African Americans. Uh, some of our people that are Caribbean islanders, or some of our brothers and sisters that's on the continent of Africa, they have a really negative slant idea about who we are, what we've been through, how we should act, and the things that we do. And I just want to get us together as a nation of people, as the nation of Israel, all 12 tribes, and also as the tribe of Judah, we need to get together. We need to come together and do and be better. So if you a so-called African American, a so-called Black person, uh, one of the so-called Black people from the diaspora, one of the so-called Black people scattered to the four corners of the earth, this message is for you. You are the children of Israel. You are God's chosen people. You are one of the children. You are the children of God, according to the Bible. But all the more so, if you are scattered through that African diaspora, through that transatlantic slave trade, or through the Arab slave trade, you are of the tribe of Judah. It's a really good chance that that's who you are, and that is part of the kingly tribe. And the rest of the tribes are waiting for us to wake up. They're going to follow our lead into these things. This is why, if you ever look at the civil rights movement, that was a lot of Judites put at that time. So we have to understand that this is what's called upon us. And we got to come together and we got to do better. We got to represent ourselves as a people, so-called Black people. We got to represent ourselves as a nation. We have to represent ourselves as a nation. We have to represent ourselves better. Let's go to Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1. And it reads, gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. And we're the most undesired people on the face of this earth. Our own people have issue with us as so-called African Americans or so-called Black people. Our own people have issue with who we are, how we are, the way we act, and with good reason, because we've gone way we go way too far with the ignorance and the foolishness. We are purposefully keeping ourselves in the stereotypes that these other nations have for us. Uh, Ignorant, lazy, wild, out of control, baby mothers, baby fathers, drug addicts, uh, ignorant, the nigga woman, loud, obnoxious, and ignorant. The Black man is effeminate or over masculated, in prison, uneducated, and so on and so forth. But I know enough of us in this world. I am one of us. So I know enough about us. I know enough of us to say that no, we're not ignorant. We're not unemployed. We're not deadbeat dads. We're not baby moms. Who are our women are not all ignorant, loud, obnoxious, and so on and so forth. Man, we got to do better. And this is why I'm bringing this out. We need to gather together and understand, like, man, we have to do better as a nation, and us as the tribe of Judah, we have to do better. So let's gather together, as it says, Zephaniah 2 and 1. Gather yourselves together. We got to come together ourselves. Don't let something else, Black Lives Matter, gather us together. Let's gather together under the guise of the Most High, under the instruction of the commandments. Let that be our guide. Let that be our compass, our moral compass, our economic compass, our educational compass. Let's let the commandments put us aright, right? Because the scripture said that the commandments, the law, statutes, and commandments would be our wisdom in the sight of the other nations. And this is why we are so unwise and so foolish, because we don't deal with the Most High's commandments, right? That's in Deuteronomy chapter 4, where he says that would be our commandments would be our wisdom in the sight of the other nations. So let's read this one more time. Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yea. When you see yea, that means yeah. Like emphatically, yes. fool. Yeah. So gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired. Right? I mean, think about it. Even our own people have names for us. Not just white folks have Negro, nigga, spook, coon, jigaboo, or whatever else. Our own people have names for us. Our own people in the continent of Africa have a name for us. Our own people in the Caribbean islands call us lazy and so on and so forth. And like I said, with good reason, in some ways they have a good reason and good cause and good purpose and a good point in saying these things. But we ought to know better. We ought to look at each other. A man coming from Barbados or Jamaica or Nigeria or Ghana, they should have more understanding of the situation. But we don't provide any understanding. We don't give them any other outlet except for what? Us being gangbangers, hoods, dope dealers, killers, and so on and so forth. We the people who tear down our nation the most. We could say the white man all day long, but really, at first glance and that second and third glance, really, we are our own self worst enemies a lot of times. So we need to gather together. Old nation not desired. That's us. We need to do better. Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 8. 1 Peter 3, verse 8. This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 8. Finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another. Love as brethren. Be pitiful and be courteous. And this is what we need. We need to come together having one mind. And that one mind should be us dealing with the commandments, coming together under the commandments, dealing with the truth. I'm not talking about commandments in those, for all you Christians. I know some of y'all might be tuning in, to some brothers and sisters who may not be in the truth, but who hearing what I'm saying. I'm not talking about in a religious way. Religion actually is a box. Imagine a box that you got, like you got one of your gifts from Gibson when you were younger and you had Christmas, right? You got what's inside and gives you. This is why there are so many different religions that deal with the Bible, different beliefs, and all these different religions. But when you really look at it, hey, do y'all celebrate the Sabbath day? Because the Bible talks about the Sabbath. No, they don't do that. Well, do y'all keep Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, Tabernacles, Atonement? Right? Nope, they don't deal with any of that. Okay. Well, do you eat clean according to Leviticus 11? No, they don't do that. Right? What does your Christ look like? Oh, well, our Christ is this white man over here, when really the Bible doesn't describe him looking like that, or the people of the Bible looking like that. And so this is why you have all these different religions. Imagine that box. So if you're a Christian, your understanding comes out the Christian box. If you're a Baptist, your understanding comes out the Baptist box. If you're a Catholic, your understanding comes out the Catholic box. But if you have true understanding of the scriptures, right, the way the Most High intended for us as Israel to have the true understanding of the scriptures, then you would take the time to say, you know what, these commandments is the only thing that we really need, not religion. Because through these commandments, this is where we're going to get our moral stance from. This is where we're going to understand morally, this is what's right and what's wrong. This is where we're going to get our civil stance. And when I say civil, I mean civilized or civilian, right? This is where we get how we deal with things legally, right? And when we say ceremonially, this when we going into the feast days and saying, oh, okay, Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, Day of Atonement, the Feast of First Fruits, Feast of Tabernacles. These are holidays. So that's why I said ceremony, right? So understand where I'm coming from, that the commandments already give us to us from the Most High. It's not a religion. This is our culture, so-called black man scattered to the four corners of the earth because of the transatlantic slave trade. This is your original culture. This is your original custom. Hebrew is your original language. That's who you are. So we need to come back. Watch. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1. It says, finally, brethren, be ye all of one mind. We need to come back to these commandments, because the one mind that we should be under is the one mind of the Most High, not the one mind of the Catholic Church, which is the mind of the Pope, not the one mind of the Baptist Church, which is that pastor, or the Christian Church, which is of that pastor, or Seventh-day Adventists or Jehovah's. No, none of that, because those are understandings of men put inside that box. This is why you can go to a Catholic church and they will tell you if you want to be a Catholic priest, They send you to a Catholic Bible school to get a Catholic degree in that. Same thing with the Baptist religion. If you want to be a Baptist preacher, then they'll send you to a Baptist Bible school, a Baptist Bible college for you to get a degree in that. But there's no Israelite Bible college because it's strictly out the scripture. It is what the scripture is. You don't need none of that to get this, because really what it's going to come down to is the law, statutes, and commandments, which is the way in the culture, the custom and culture that the Most High gave us to begin with as a nation of people, all 12 tribes, right? So let's get that again. Finally, so he's saying, finally, if nothing else, this is it. Finally, right? Be ye all of one mind. The one mind is the mind of the Most High, keeping those commandments. And while we do that, what should we do? Have compassion one on another. Love as brethren. We got to look out for each other, man. We got to start looking out for each other again. And sometimes we feel like that's what we're doing, but we will look out for everyone when we need to take care of ourselves. We need to look for ourselves. We need to always do these things for self. You hear a lot of Pan-Africanists say, we need to do for self. Well, that's where they are right about that. We need to do for self. But how do we do for self? We got to what does it say? It says having compassion one of another. We need to care for one another. We need to look out for one another. And looking out for one another and caring for one another. This is what we're doing. It don't mean that you all in everybody business, but when brothers fall on hard times, we need to be there to look out for each other, lift each other up. Maybe we can help. Maybe you're doing bad on your rent. Maybe brothers can help you piece up money for your rent. Maybe you need a job. Brothers can help you find a job, help you get onto a job, right? Maybe sisters need help with childcare so they can go to work. We need to come together as a nation of people to help each other do that. But I'm talking to us specifically. Yeah, I'm talking to the whole nation, but specifically. I know some of y'all say specifically. I'm just messing with y'all. But hey, on the real, I'm specifically talking to you so-called African Americans. Okay, it's a lot going on. Y'all watch the news. Pay attention to what's going on, and you're going to see that at some point we're going to be victim of some of the stuff that's going on. Some of the stuff is going to fall on us, so we're going to need to lean on one another at this point. And when we do, what should we be? Be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another. And do what else? Love as brethren. You got to love your brother, man. And I don't mean, sweet, do whatever you're going to do. Wait, no, I ain't saying anything like that. I'm saying that we got to love each other in a way that where we're going to be able to take care of each other, look out for each other, help each other, provide for one another, right? Come together and figure these things out. Food, clothing, shelter, it's necessities that we need in this world. So we need to be looking out for each other, if for nothing else, trying to make sure that we all have these things that can sustain and maintain these things: food, clothing, and shelter, right? He says, love as brethren, be pitiful and courteous. Watch this. We're going to read verse 9. Not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, because a lot of times we can't wait to go at each other. A brother say something to you, and instead of you being like, man, I ain't finna trip on that, I'm finna let that go. You're going to show him who you think you are. You're going to show him how bad of a nigga you was, or bad of a nigga you are, or you think you are, right? Because we ain't none of us so bad that we can't get whooped. Let's make that plain. I'm not saying that I am, that I'm that dude. I'm sure as hell not going to believe that you that dude. Or I'm not saying that you that woman either. I'm saying that we need to understand that we got to stop being so damn petty and doing what? Rendering evil for evil. Man, as soon as she says something, she got to say something back. As soon as he act like this, you got to show that you ain't no punk. Man, listen, if it ain't on no physical shit, if ain't nobody did nothing to you, excuse my French, but if ain't nobody did nothing to you physically, where you got to put your hands on somebody, where you got to defend yourself. Notice I use the word defend. In defend yourself, then it's not worth it, right? Something being said can be solved with words. You don't need to get physical with it, but you also need to use your intelligence when you use your words, so that way you can say the right thing, so you can get the results that you're shooting for, right? So this is why it says not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, but contrary-wise. So not going back and forth with your mouth or trying to show who the baddest, right? But contrary-wise, blessing. We need to be blessing each other, man. And I know that sometimes we think that that's on some, we even look at that like that's a religious thing, but a blessing is not just that. It's just, a blessing could be you bringing clarity to a situation. A blessing can be you bridging the gap A blessing could be you defusing the situation. A blessing could be you helping that brother find employment. A blessing could be you helping that sister find childcare so she could go to work. A blessing could be you helping brothers and sisters, like I said, piece up the money for rent, or help a brother find a way to get like I said, the bare necessities, food, clothing, and shelter. That's all we really want in this life is sufficient food, clothing, and shelter. And so that could be a blessing. It says, not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, but contrariwise blessing, knowing that ye are thereunto called, especially those of us who know that we are the called, especially with those of us who wearing the fringes, who got your beard grown out, sisters who got their hair wraps and got fringes on their skirts or on their dresses. Those of us who like to say, oh, shalom, shalom, all of that. Yeah, listen, we need to not render evil for evil and railing for railing, but contrariwise blessing, knowing that we are the called, right? That you should inherit a blessing. We should be blessing brothers that we should so that we can inherit blessing from the Most High Father, right? That means all of you brothers out there with the fringes, y'all camp bangers, y'all need to stop that, man. We need to put that down because now ain't the time. If you was gonna do that, you should have did that a long time ago when you was in the world. You should have been a gangbanger back then. Why wait until you come to the truth and righteousness to want to do something like gangbanging? That's silly and ridiculous and foolish. You falling into the same trap. This is why we are the nation that is not desired, because we can't get it together. We can't leave the old stuff alone. We can't repent from the gangbanger, from the dope slanger, from the womanizing, from the promiscuous activity as women, or from being that nigga woman who always got to be right, who got to be showing how rough and tough and bad she is. She just as bad as the men. And we need to leave all that alone. And we should, verse 10, for he that will love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil, and in his lips that they speak no guile. Let him eschew evil and do good. What's good? That's the book of Romans, where it say that the law is good and just, right? This is, we got to understand. We got to be doing this law, because the law is going to keep us morally, ethically, civilly. It's going to keep us good. That's what it's supposed to do. And that's the one mind that is spoken of in verse 8. He says, let him seek peace and ensue it. This is what we need amongst each other. We need peace. And it's not only should we be seeking peace, it says ensue. That means to chase, pursue it, right? We need to pursue. We need to look for peace and then chase it. Always being in pursuit of peace. That's what we need, y'all. For the eyes of the Lord are over the righteous. And if we keeping these commandments, then we're the righteous. So all of you brothers in a different camp, all you brothers in different congregations, all you individualites out there, I'm not telling you to join me. I'm not telling you to join this camp or that camp. I'm saying that we need to start acknowledging one another as brothers in this nation. We need to start coming together as brothers in this nation, especially us of the tribe of Judah, because the rest of our nation is waiting on us. He says, for the eyes of the Lord are over the righteous, those that do the law, right? And his ears are open to their prayers. But the face of the Lord is against them that do evil. What's evil? Watch this. What's evil? Verse 9, rendering evil for evil and railing for railing, right? What's evil? Go to verse 10. Having an evil tongue. You see what it says? How it says, refrain his evil tongue. Speaking guile. These are the things that we got to stay away from. We need to be building our nation, not tearing it down because of the different colors we wear in our camps, not because of the simple things that we disbelieve in. When these are things that we can come together at these Hebrew summits and hash them issues out and iron those issues out. We need to be better than that. We should be beyond that. Let's go to Romans chapter 12. Romans 12. And I'm going to start at verse 9. This is the book of Romans chapter 12, verse 9. Let love be without dissimulation. We have to be without dissimulation. Let's define dissimulation. Dissimulation is trying to hide your feelings or your intentions, right? So it's saying let's love without ill intention, without false intentions, without false feelings. So this is that we should be loving each other like that. Like when we see other brothers in the streets, especially those of us who's wearing fringes, we shouldn't be looking at them sideways or side eye like, who, what camp is this nigga with? Nah, you should be like, oh shalom, all praise to the Most High that you in the truth. Whether you feel like my camp ain't as strong as yours, or whether you feel like your camp got the truth, man, that's foolishness. This ain't your truth, just the Most High's truth. This ain't your words, it's the Most High words. These ain't your law, statutes, commandments. These are the Most High's commandments. And when we act like that, that's when we start to act like the people in these different religions, right? No, we are a nation of people. How you gonna tell me I'm not part of a nation? And as a nation of people, especially as a nation of people that we're supposed to be building up and putting together, it's foolish for you to tell and wrong and wicked for us to look at another brother, especially when he wearing fringes, to look at them and say, you know what, that brother not in the truth. He don't have the truth, or you don't know what stage of the truth that brother's in. You don't know what's going on in that brother's life. And in fact, that's why we're supposed to be there to lift each other up. So so don't just be saying shalom and then really in the back of your mind or in your heart, you're like, fuck that nigga, man. Right? We shouldn't be like that. So this is what it is saying when it says what? Romans 12, verse 9. Let love be without dissimulation. Let the love, don't have fake love for somebody. That's what it is, right? False love. Let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil. What's evil? Not keeping the commandments. Man, just because a brother don't do the same moon as you, that ain't a reason. Oh, he do the solar calendar. Oh, I do the lunar calendar. Man, y'all, man, until you figure it out, until the Most High give us understanding on it, man, just be happy that the brother's trying to keep the new moon. We'll figure all that out when in time, right? He said, abhor that which is evil, cleave to that which is good. What is good? Again, we said in Romans 7 that's the commandment. We're gonna have to get it because it came up again. Let's go there real quick. Romans 7 and verse 12. Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment is holy and just and good. The word just means fair, or meaning to bring forth justice. So look at what it's saying. The law and the commandment is good. So when it says that, it says, abhor that which is evil and cleave to that which is good. It's talking about cleaving to the word of the Most High, cleaving to his commandments, being obedient. So we're supposed to abhor that which is evil, which is opposite of the commandments. So if a brother's trying to keep the commandments, don't hate that. We ain't supposed to abhor him just because he's not doing it the way we think. No, love that brother, and eventually we'll figure it out. Man, I'm going to keep stressing this. That's what these Hebrew summits should be for. Not just to get together and everybody looking at each other. No, we should be hashing. And maybe that is what y'all do. Maybe that is what we do. Excuse me. I haven't been to one yet, but we need to do better at it if that's what we're doing. I'll say that. Let love be without dissimulation, without sincerity. Abhor that which is evil and cleave to that which is good. We just read in Romans 7 and 12 that the commandment is good. And then it says what? Be kind. Be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love. This is how we need to be with each other. We shouldn't. I run across many brothers in many camps where the new dude get the side eye like, who's the new dude, right? I've been out here where I'm currently living. The first couple of brothers I met that I saw with fringes on, I tried to approach them and talk to them, and their attitude and their spirit and their energy was not the best. So I didn't hook up with their camp, right? I didn't hook up with their congregation. You know why? Because there was not kindly affection there. It says, be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love. So we need to have that brotherly love one to another, right? Sisterly love, sisters, you too. He says, one to another in honor, preferring one another. We should be preferring one another. We should be looking out for each other first, is what that's saying. Looking out for each other first, because the other nations are going to do that, right? Whether you believe that the Hispanics and Native Americans are Israel or not, guess what? They look out for one another first. They cannot get along. It could be a Mexican and a Guatemalan. And they don't always get along. But guess what? They're going to prefer him first over the white man, over the Chinese man, over the black man, right? That's how it goes. And so so-called black people, we need to prefer one another first. We need to look out for each other, one another first. And the other nations will see us and they're going to follow suit. They follow us in everything that we do. Hip hop, fashion, gang banging, what in movie making, everything everything that we do, once we touch it, it turns gold, and they follow us. So they're following us in all these worldly things. So we need to start showing them the righteousness that we do when we keep these commandments. That righteousness that's coming upon us, we need to show them that, so that way the world will follow us into that, and maybe we can have a better world. But that's in prophecy, and then they'll all unfold the way the Most High wanted it, the Most High willing, right? Be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love, in honor, preferring one another. So we should be preferring one another first. Verse 11, not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Most High. So we shouldn't be lazy in taking care of one another, looking out for one another. We should be right on top of it. Hold on, brother, you need what? Let me see what I could do. Hold up, this sister over here need what? Well, let's see how we can help this sister out. Wait a minute, the kids need what? All right, well, let's go find out how to help the children do this, that, and the third. This is preferring one another. This is how we prefer one another, and not be slothful. Verse 11 says, not slothful in business. We need to be on top of it. As soon as you find out, don't wait. Don't be lazy about it. See about it now. Oh, hold up, brother. You need a job. What kind of work you do? Okay, I do know somebody who do that. Let me see what's up. I do know over there, my brother have a job. He do stuff that he do kind of do that kind of work. Let me see if I can help you out. Let's be on top of it. Not being slothful in business, but fervent in our spirit, serving the Most High, right? Verse 12, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation. So we gonna have to come together because the tribulation is coming upon us. I know a lot of y'all say, man, Jacob's trouble is coming. Well, I'm one of the people who believe we've been in Jacob's trouble. In slavery, we was in Jacob's trouble. On the slave ship, we was in Jacob's trouble. When we got here, the Caribbean islands and in the mainland, we was in Jacob's trouble. In the 1960s, we was in Jacob's trouble. In Jim Crow, we was in Jacob's trouble. When I was younger and they beat the hell out of Rodney King, that was Jacob's trouble. And so, point in us looking for it, we've been living it. And this is why it says, we need to be patient in tribulation. And that's the tribulation that we're still dealing with that stuff right now. So we need to look out for one another right now. We need to be there for one another right now. Fervent. It says fervent in spirit, not slothful in business, and preferring one another with brotherly love. I'm reading it backwards, 11 and 10, right? And that's what we need to be. Rejoice in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing in instant prayer, constantly praying for one another. And I'm sure that there are brothers and sisters who are out there praying, but we all need to pray for each other. Don't just pray for that brother, or don't just pray for that sister, man. Pray for that whole congregation. Pray for that whole camp. Pray for all Israel. Those of us who knew, those of us who know the truth, those of us who don't know the truth, and those of us who were way before our ancestors who sinned before. We need to pray for all of that, man. Right? Verse 12. Romans 12, verse 13, distributing to the necessity of saints, given to hospitality. So we need to be taking care of each other. It says distributing to the necessity of saints. What I just say, food, clothing, shelter. These are the things that we really need to be making sure that we have. And how do we get some of that? Employment, man. Like I said, maybe childcare. We need to talk to each other, network with one another as a nation, not as a camp. As a nation, as especially a so-called Black Americans, so-called African Americans, so-called Negroes, so-called Black people, whatever you want to call yourself, we need to come together and be better with one another, distributing to the necessity of the saints, food, clothing, shelter, maybe some child care, employment. These are the things that we really need to look forward and help each other out with. Let's go to Hebrews 13 and 1. I got a lot to unpack, so I'm talking kind of fast, and it seems like my time is going fast. Hebrews 13, verse 1. It says, let brotherly love continue. Right? So this is what we got to do. We got to continue in our brotherly love. Go to Psalm 133. Psalm 133. This is the 133rd Psalm. This is the first verse. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Man, what is my lesson? Gather together. We need to come together in unity. We need to prefer each other first. We need to have brotherly love. We need to be looking out for each other in the things that are necessity. This is what's needed of us today. So-called Black man, so-called African American, you Israelites scattered to the four corners of the earth, but especially you so-called Judites, especially here in Babylon in America, right? We need to really look out for each other because there's some stuff coming that it's I see it. And if what I see really comes to pass, man, we're gonna really need each other. We're gonna really need to lean on each other. And this is what it's saying: how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 12, verse 2. Zechariah chapter 12, verse 2. This is the book of Zechariah chapter 12, verse 2. Yeah, I'll take that. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling. So I know that right here in this particular prophecy, it is talking about the land. But when you read the scriptures, when you see the word Jerusalem, when you see Zion, when you see all these places, and these places are over in the same land, when they're in the land of Israel or in the land of Palestine, depending on what you decide to call it, they're not talking about the land. A lot of times they're talking about us as the people. We are Israel. We are Zion. We are Jerusalem. We are all these places. So it says the word. It says, behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people around about when they shall be in the siege, both against Judah and against Jerusalem. Man, they are against us. It's a lot of people against us. The nations are against us. The Chinese, the Koreans, the Japanese, the so-called white people here and abroad. Okay, let's not narrow it down and just try to act like only the white people in the South. No, white people here and abroad, white people in Boston, white people in New York, white people in Los Angeles, in Chicago, Philadelphia, Texas, Louisiana, Alabama. Man, I'm not saying every white person is against us, but we do have to pay attention that there are many of them that they are against us. They may not say it, but if they do think it and they do feel it, then they will show it eventually. So we have to understand that it says, when they shall be in the siege, both against Judah and Jerusalem. That's against all of us, you guys. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone. I'm in verse 3. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth are gathered together against it. Man, all the people of the earth are gathered against what? Jerusalem, against Israel, against Zion. They are against us. So understand that the world is set up against us. It's no reason why we can't catch a break in the judicial system here in America. It's no coincidence why we're undereducated. While we go to work, we may work hard, we may work long hours, we may be on the job long, but it seems like we don't get the respect or the pay that we're supposed to get. And this is what's going on in this on this planet. And we need to understand that. This is why I started off with gather together, all ye people, that all you nation not desired. This is who we are. And then I went into what we need to do. Love each other, keep maintaining brotherly love, prefer each other first. We need to give out the things that's needed. What I say, food, clothing, shelter, maybe employment, maybe it's childcare, whatever it may be. We know what we need, and we need to do it with sincerity and love. This is the things I brought out: 1 Peter 3, 8 through 12, Romans 12, 9 through 13, Hebrews 13 and 1, Psalm 133 and 1. We need to gather together in unity, right? Let's get that one more time. Let it flow. Zechariah chapter 12, verse 2. Behold, I will make Jerusalem, that is us, a cup of trembling unto all the people round about it, all the different nations, when they shall be in the siege against both Judah and against Jerusalem. That is us. Again, we are Judah and Jerusalem. And in that day will I make Jerusalem, us, a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces. Because when the Most High come back, man, he going to redeem us, y'all. He going to lift us up on high. He going to show the world who we really are. He says, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. Man, all the people of the earth are against us. Okay? I'm not saying every particular single person, but understand what it is giving you. Let's see. Watch, Psalms gonna give us a little bit more understanding. Let's go to Psalms 83. Psalms 83, I'm gonna start at verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult. What's a tumult? A tumult is like a riot. They make a loud noise. They make a whole bunch of commotion. It says thine enemies. So the Most High have enemies. If the Most High have enemies, if you are enemy with the Most High, would you not be an enemy to his children as well? We are his children. So if they hate our Father, they hate us too, right? He says, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They've come together with an idea. They got a leader that said, we're going to follow this dude and he going to show us how to deal with them. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. We are his people. We are the hidden ones. Over and over again, you can see how we are his people in the scriptures. All throughout Isaiah, he's telling you that we are his chosen. We are his elect. We are his selected. We are his messengers. We are his witnesses. We are his prophets. We are over and over again in the books of Isaiah, right? In the book of Isaiah, excuse me. Let's read on. Verse 4. It says, let me not skip over that. They and consulted against our hidden ones. We are the hidden ones because it's been hidden to us about who we are. And since we've forgotten who we are, we can't stand up for it. And so a lot of the nations don't know who we are. And so they don't understand what their obsession is with us, what their attraction is to us, why they hate us. Why they hate us because they ain't us, right? They don't understand that because we are the hidden ones, because we are the children of Israel. We are God's chosen. We are God's elect. We are God's people, according to this Bible. So this is what it is. In verse 3, look, Psalm 82 and 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. So they've come together and counseled against us. Stop and frisk in New York, the 3 strikes law, and many other things of the such, right? I remember when I was young, if they saw 3 blacks walking on the street, they considered us a gang. They were able to stop and frisk us and, God forbid, whatever else, right? And so these are the things that have been crafted against us. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. How they cut us off from being a nation? Man, they gave us these names. What names they give us? Black, African-American, Afro-American, Negro, nigger, spook, porch monkey, coon, so on and so forth, right? And these are the things that they gave us. These are the names that they put under us by making us say, you know what, when you fill out your application and you check African American or you check black, why you don't just check other and then put Hebrew right there? Because you don't even know this, because they took it, they're trying to make us not be a nation. This is why they took our language from us. Right now, you ain't speaking Hebrew. You won't know how to speak English. If you watch the movie Roots, this is why his name was changed to Kunta Kinte. You change a man's name, he loses that identity, his custom, his culture, and then what? And you taking away his language, you taking away his name, you take away his God, and you replace it with all of something else. By the time he has 2 children, and his children have 1 child, and we just saying or not even 2 children. Sometimes just that 1 child. By the time that 1 child comes, that child don't really know you as Kunta Kinte. They know you as Toby. They don't know you as the Mandinka or the Igbo warrior. They know you as the slave that works on Master Johnson's plantation. That's what they know. That's the reality that it is. And this is what it means when it says they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And this is why they changed our name. Our names had the name of our God in them: Daniel, Isaiah. So the L at the end of Daniel and Gabriel, that means God. But when you see Yah at the end of those names, that's the Most High's name being in our name, right? Jeremiah, Isaiah, right? Hezekiah. These are names that are there, but we don't know this, so they took it away and they made it something else. Verse 4 from the top, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. So they came together and had one idea and said, this is what we're going to do to them. They are confederate against thee. So they come together and confederate. And who are these people? The tabernacles of Edom. That's the so-called white nation, right? The Ishmaelites, that's the Arabs. Moab, the Hagarenes, Gabal, Ammon, and Amalek. Amalek is the Jewish people. The Philistines, and with the inhabitants of Tyre and Assur. So these are all different nations. These are, no matter what nation you think of, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Arabs, the Africans. These are all these different people, and they came together. How do they come together and make some of these decisions? Man, it's simple. It's called the United Nations. And so while we understand what they're doing with the whole world, don't think not for 1 second that they're not looking at us as an individual people that they need to make sure they keep under their thumb, right? what is his name? J. Edgar Hoover, I believe, said the biggest threat to American society is black unity. Look at that. Black unity is the biggest threat to American society. That makes no sense. Um, he said that one of his biggest goals was to make sure that they keep the that they don't allow the rise of a black Messiah. Man, why would they say that? Because they know Christ is the black Messiah. So they understand that if we stay in sin, if we stay away from the Most High's commandments, and we stay in sin, then we'll stay in these curses, and we won't ever come back to who we're supposed to be as a nation of kings and priests. Right? Let's go to Ezekiel 35. Ezekiel 35. 35 and 5. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 35 and verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel. So this is all those people that we just read about in Psalms 83. Edom, the Ishmaelites, the people of Tyre and Ammon and Moab. These are all these people. These are all the nations that are in the United Nations today. They haven't changed. They have their names may have changed somewhat, but in some cases they haven't even changed their names. And so the Most High is going to bring judgment on them. And look what it says: because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time of their iniquity had an end. And this is what's happening. All these nations, man, they don't care about killing us and gunning us down in the street or brutalizing us and mistreating us and and abusing us, under paying us and so on and so forth. Why? Look at what he says: because thou hast had a perpetual hatred towards us, the children of Israel. So we need to come together, because these other nations, they're already together. They're together as their own nation, and they're also together with other nations. They've come together. That's why it says they've conspired. They've become confederate. They've counseled with one another, right? In Psalms 83. This is what it said. And so this is why we got to come together, because they have a perpetual hatred for us. And not only that, though, but it's some of our own people who do that, right? Let's go to First Maccabees chapter 1. First Maccabees chapter 1. I'm going to go to verse 11. I'm just going to read a little bit. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 11. In those days went out of Israel wicked men, so out of our own people, wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. So this is what our people are doing. This is why we feel like if we vote, we doing good. This is when if we haven't paid any attention, man, voting doesn't really do us any good, because they already have their minds made up. Voting doesn't do any good, because that's making a covenant with the heathen, right? Voting doesn't really do us much good, because if you go back to George Bush Jr. and his presidency, that fool lost, and they still made him win, right? Think about Barack Obama. As blacks, we voted for him because he was black, and we thought he was going to do something for us because he was black, and he did what he did. He did what he wanted to do for. Or I ain't gonna say he did what he wanted to do. He helped the LGBTQ community, but he did not help the black community. Let's pay attention to that. He helped the LGBTQ community, but he did not help the black community. Okay, and this is the same thing. Look, in those days when out of Israel, out of our nation of people, wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen. That's what we doing with politics that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. So they were happy. A lot of our people were happy with that, and they felt like that was a good idea, right? That's why it says this device pleased them well. Verse 13, then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king. So they would go to the king. Our people would go to the king and gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. And these kings would say, yeah, you can be like us. What would America like to say? One nation under God, right? And this is what we doing when we make covenants with them. We make contracts with them. When we vote for them, we put them in office over us, right? He says, verse 14, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. This is talking about Olympics and gyms and stuff like that. I don't know that y'all didn't know this, but going to the gym, it's not that it's bad to get exercise in, but actually the gym started something that was something that started by the Greeks, and you would go in there and exercise butt naked. Look at us today. We in the gym, our women are in there naked, ass cheeks hanging out the bottom of the short. The yoga pants is so tight you can see every crevice and nook and cranny, right? You got the side boob popping out, the top cleavage popping out, and it's all just so you can work out. What you got to wear that to work out? Sweats ain't good, right? Verse 15, and made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant. And this is what we still do to this day. We'll forsake the holy covenant. We'll leave our nation. We'll forsake our people. We'll forsake our God, and made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen. So we left our brethren and joined ourselves to them, right? Joined ourselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. And that's not, and nothing has changed to that. Let's stay in Maccabees, y'all. Let's stay in Maccabees. We're going to go to stay in First Maccabees, go to chapter 7. First Maccabees chapter 7, we're going to start at verse 5. There came unto him all the wicked and ungodly men of Israel, having Alcimus, who was desirous to be high priest for their captain. So this man Alcimus wanted to be a leader of Israel. So all these wicked men of Israel went to Alcimus, who was desirous to be the leader over the people, right? And they accused the people to the king, saying, Judas and his brethren have slain all thy friends and driven out of our own land. So they're coming and they're saying, man, so when you do your history, Judas Maccabeus was a revolutionary, and he gathered the people and revolted against the Greek empire, and he was winning, right? And so then here come these wicked men who desire to have rulership and leadership over our own people. These same Israelites, they didn't want to rise up with Judas Maccabees, but instead they went to the king and said, look, man, you know I want to be a high priest. I'm going to help you get over these people. I'm going to help you gain some of the people back, and we're going to revolt against the revolters, right? And they said, and they accused the people to the king, saying, Judas and his brethren have slain all thy friends and driven us out of our own land. Now therefore, send some men whom thou trustest, and let him go and see what havoc he hath made among us and in the king's land, and let him punish them with all them that aid them. So they asked, basically, he kind of asked for the National Guard to come in a sense. He's like, man, now let me have the National Guard behind me. This wicked Israelite man is like, let's say he goes to the president and says, you're going to give me the National Guard so I can go in. We're going to see what Judas did, all the things that he did how during his revolution, and we're going to take them down. That's with the National Guard. And then you can put me as the high priest over the Israelites, even though he was a wicked man, right? But how did he do it? He went to the king of the Greeks to do that. This is what I'm saying. We have our own people who have their own agenda who are going to do wicked things like this. This happened before. This is how Fred Hampton was killed. This is how Malcolm X was killed. This is quiet as kept. This is how Martin Luther King was killed. Martin Luther the King, right? It's funny. But this is the truth about it. This is why when you read in Matthew 24 and Christ is telling us that brother's going to deliver up brother, and brother's going to betray brother. And enemies, and a man's enemies will be they of his own household. This is what's going on right here. Then the king chose Bacchides, a friend of the king, who ruled beyond the flood and was a great man in the kingdom and faithful to the king. And he sent with that wicked Alcimus. So the king got one of his homeboys and said, you go with Alcimus, the wicked Israelite. And what? Whom he had made high priest. The king made him high priest. He made him ruler over us. Yes, he was an Israelite, but he was a wicked Israelite. Imagine one of these black Trump supporters. That's who Alcimus would be, right? And him he sent with the wicked Alcimus, whom he made high priest, and commanded that he should take vengeance of the children of Israel. So now he's taking vengeance for the king on his own people. Man, these same sellout niggas always been around, and they're gonna always be around. And this is why I'm calling out for us to gather together, because there are things that are coming on, that's coming into this country, that are happening all across the planet, man. And we are going to be the victims of these things because we are the nation that is not desired. Psalms 83 tells us that they've consulted one another, and they're trying to figure out ways to destroy us every day. You know, that's why you see so many of these interracial couple commercials. They're trying to inspire our black women to not deal with our black men. They're trying to inspire our black men to not deal with our black women. They're trying to make us feel like we can't coexist, like we can't be together, like one needs to be here, one needs to be there. They don't want us to do that. And this is what's happening. We have these wicked sellouts that's promoting that kind of stuff. They've always been around, man. Now where we at? We in verse 10. So they departed and came with a great power into the land of Judea, where they sent messengers to Judas and his brethren with peaceable words deceitfully. And this is what politics is peaceable words deceitfully. They tell you, yeah, you need to vote for this or vote for that person, and this person is going to make a difference. This person's for the black community. That's why they all try to get everybody, because it's deceit. They don't care that you gay. They don't care that you black. They don't care that you Asian. They don't care that you Hispanic. They just want your vote. So then once they get in power, they can then do what they want to do. They can kind of do what they said they would do for you, but they don't care to do it. And not only that, is it even in their power to do it? Because we understand that it's the powers that be that actually run these politicians, right? So we got to understand that it's going to be wicked sellout niggas like this brother Alcimus, wicked Israelites who they going to sell us out to be what? To be high priests, or to be what? To be our civil rights leaders, right? To be our representatives, right? In the eyes of the media. So then when they sell us out, we don't have no choice, because we feel like that's our leader. We've said that this person was our leader, or we acknowledge that person is our leader. And that's where we go wrong at, because those same sellouts are in league, or they're in covenant, or they're contracted, or they're hired by the president or the king to go against us, to tell us to march silently, to suffer in silence, to make t-shirts, but not to stand up for ourselves. These are the things that we can't do. They never tell us to come back to the commandments of the Most High. They never tell us to keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Father. They never tell us that we the children of Israel, that we the chosen, and that we should be doing better, that we're supposed to be a nation of kings and priests. This is why I'm saying we need to gather together and love and maintain that brotherly love. Prefer one another first. What to say? Different. We gotta give out the things that are needed. Like I said, food, clothing, and shelter. Like I said, maybe employment, maybe childcare. Let's read on. Let's go to verse 15. So he spake unto them peaceably and swear unto them, saying, we will procure the harm neither of you nor your friends. So they're like, man, we got you. This lying sellout Alcimus was telling our people, I'm an Israelite too. You don't got to worry about it. The same way these politicians say, I'm a black person too. Kamala Harris was a black woman until she got in office, and now she's Indian again, right? Let's pay attention, man. These people don't have nothing to do with us. Barack Obama was a black person too until he got in office. Then all of a sudden he was more for the LGBTQ community, right? Let's understand that. Understand that these people in politics, they don't have nothing to do with us. We got to gather together and look out for ourselves. We got to take care of our own community. We got to start finding out what brother got land so he could farm it. So let's help him. Let's buy some seeds. And brothers who are unemployed, let's go help farm that land so we can have our own fruits and vegetables, right? Let's figure out how to do that. Let's support our own clothing companies. But I don't want to go off into a rant. He says, so he spake unto them peaceably and swear unto them, saying, we will procure the harm neither of you or your friends. So he's saying we will make sure you're not harmed. But we already read in the previous verse that was deceitfully, right? That was lying. That was false. scripture, verse 21. But Alcimus contended for the high priesthood. This was his main goal. That's all he wanted, was that leadership. Down to this, we're going to read the verse 23. And unto him resorted all such as troubled the people. So he did everything that was wrong to the people. He sold us out and put us in horrible situations, right? This is what's still going on to this day. Who, after they had gotten the land of Judah into their power, did much hurt in Israel. He's an Israelite doing much hurt to his own people in the land of Israel. And this is what's going on, and it has not changed. Them same sellouts there today. We need to gather together, Israel. Get it together under one mind. What's that one mind? Under the mind of the Most High, keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. Read verse 23. Now, when Judas saw all the mischief that Alcimus and his company had done among the Israelites, even above the heathen. Our people will sell us out worse than the heathen. They'll do us worse than the heathen. And y'all all know what I'm saying when I say this. If you get pulled over and it's a black cop and his partner is the white cop, he gonna show off for that white cop a lot of the times. I'm not saying all black cops are bad cops. I'm not saying all cops are bad cops, but it's a lot of black cops out there who they show off for the white cop to get that acceptance, right? And they'll treat us harsh. Now speak to us harsh, just because they want the white cop to acknowledge and accept them. Not understanding, like, if you betray your own people, once they're done using you up, they don't have nothing. They don't have nothing for you and don't want to have nothing to do with you, and neither will your people. So when you sell us out, I know some of y'all sellouts is watching. So when you sell us out, please understand that you ain't gonna have no place to go when our oppressors, your friend or your boss or whomever, your politician, once they're done with you and they used you up and they don't have no need or no purpose for you, you can't come back to us, right? We don't want you. So you keep your sellout ass over there with them, right? Because this is what he said. He said they had done among the Israelites even above the heathen. They done worse than the heathen did to us. Our own people will. We got to gather together. We need to look out for one another. I'm trying to smash through it, y'all. I got a couple of more verses, and then this lesson's over. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 17, verse 17. Proverbs 17, verse 17. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 17, verse 17. A friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born of adversity. So, man, this adversity that's coming up, not anniversary, y'all. Pay attention. The adversity, that means the hard times that is coming. We need to be brothers to one another, looking out for one another, preferring one another first, having the same mind, as I read in all the previous scriptures, right? We need to have the same mind, and that mind is the Most High, keeping his law, statutes, and commandments, preferring one another first, having that brotherly love, looking out for one another, taking care of one another, right? This is what we need to do. We need to be able to lean on one another. Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 17. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 17. This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 17. Honor all men. Love the brotherhood. Fear the Most High God. Honor the King. So that's simple and plain. I ain't gonna even explain that. Yeah, I am. We need to we need to love all men. I'm talking about all men of our own nation. We need to have love for each other. Man, we love Asian people. We love Hispanic people. We love white people. We love African people. We love everybody, but we hate ourselves. We don't want to deal with ourselves all the time. Yeah, we may act like it, but in all actuality, we care for those other nations first. We need to care. This is why the scriptures say preferring one another first. We need to prefer our brethren, people of our own nation first. Look out for them first. Give them the job first. We need to. This is what we need to do. This is what the scripture commands us. This is part of the love that the scripture tells us to have, right? Honor all men. Love the brotherhood. I just touched on that love. Fear the Most High. How do we fear the Most High? Keeping his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. That's 1 John chapter 3, verse 5. Make sure I don't want to misquote nothing. Chapter 5 and verse 3, excuse me. 1 John chapter 5, verse 3. For this is the love of God. So this is how we love God. That we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. So we got to keep those commandments, right? That's how we fear God and honor the King. Who's the King? Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. He's going to tell us to love the commandments and keep the commandments. Let's go to Genesis 13. Let's see what our forefather Abraham has to say. Genesis chapter 13, verse 8. And Abraham said unto Lot, let's pay attention and take this to let's take this example and apply it, you guys. And Abraham said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee. So we shouldn't have strife between our brothers, right? And between thy herdsmen and and between my herdmen and thy herdmen. So brothers, in these camps with our friends on, we shouldn't have no issue between camp to camp, between street teacher to street teacher, between captain to captain, between officer to officer, corner to corner. Man, there shouldn't be no strife between us. This is what our forefather Abraham told us. Let's get that one more time. He says, and Abraham said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brethren. We should not be beefing, Israel, those of us who know the truth, right? We should not be beefing. Last scripture for the 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 17. Oh, we already got that. You know what? Let's get it one more time anyway. I don't care. Y'all ain't doing nothing. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 17, and it reads one more time. Honor all men, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the king. I ain't gonna go over it. Hey, y'all, I hope y'all get this message, man. We need to wake up because there's something coming. I pray that I'm wrong, but if I'm right, these words that I'm saying to y'all, it's gonna ring out, and we need to lean on each other. We need to support each other. We need to look out for one another, prefer one another first. As always, I hope that this planted the seed or tilled the ground or watered the plant, but of course we know the Most High get an increase. I give all honor and praise and glory to the Most High and none for myself. I'm your brother Gabar. This is Intelligent Hebrew. And with that, I'm going to say shalom. Peace.